You should know that when you have x and a number, that's really just going to be a vertical line through the x-axis at that number. Yes? So when you have x is greater than 1, you're going to go to the x-axis. Let me graph this one in red. You're going to go to the x-axis. You're going to go to the value of 1, and you're going to draw a vertical line right through that value. Now we know that it's not a solid line because the inequality doesn't have a solid line. So I'm just going to do a dotted line right through that x value. Now you need to shade in. How are you going to shade in? By testing a value to see if that's an answer. I'm going to test 0, 0, which means I'm going to plug in a 0 for x and a 0 for y, but there is no y, so I really just have 0 is greater than 1. Is that a true statement?
No.
No, 0 is not greater than 1. So this 0, 0 does not work, which means that none of these points on this side work, which means that the other side works. So let me shade in this side over here. Yay?
Yeah.
Okay, now let's go for the other one. You're going to have to divide by -2, divide by -2, divide by -2. So you're going to have y. The inequality has to flip. You're going to end up with -1/2. I took the negative that was down here on the 2 and brought it up. And the x, I'm going to put it at the very end. And -2 divided by -2 is a +1. So ladies and gentlemen, this is your new inequality that's ready to graph in y equals mx plus b form. So this one does cross. Let me go back and erase. Oh, I can't go back and erase. Let me just, it crosses the b value at 1. So let's put a dot there. This one might confuse you. That's the origin that we tested. And then from that point, we're going to go down 1/2. So I'm going to go down 1/2 and put a dot there. And I could use that pattern of down 1/2 to continue. And I could go backwards with that pattern over 2 up 1 over 2 up 1. This is going to be a solid line. Everybody with me? Now you're going to either, you're either going to shade in the bottom part or the top part. So you're going to test the value. Again, 0, 0 is the easiest to test. Imagine 0 for x and 0 for y. That's going to say 0 is greater than or equal to 1. Is 0 greater than or equal to 1? When I plug in 0 for x and 0 for y, it's going to say 0 is greater than or equal to 1. Is that true or false? That's false, which means that, again, the 0, 0 did not work, which means that you need to shade in the other side. So you're going to shade in this top part up here. Now, what you really want to represent is your overlap piece, which I'm going to do in the color green. So this side has to be dotted, this side has to be solid, and you have to shade in the overlap piece.
I didn't change the side.
Why not the other side?
Because the other side would be wrong. In order to graph number 12, you have to rewrite them in slope-intercept form. I already did that. How did I do that? I divided by -3, divided by -3, divided by -3. The inequality has to flip because you divided by a negative, so you get this new ready to graph inequality. The bottom equation, you're going to isolate the y, you're going to add 5, rewrite it, divide by 5, divide by 5, divide by 5. The inequality did not flip because you didn't divide by a negative. So these are your two new y equals mx plus b form inequalities. So let's graph the red one. The red one crosses the b value at 2, crosses right here, and I'm going to go down 1/1 because the slope is -1, and I'm going to continue with that pattern of down 1/1 to make this as long as I want, and I'm going to go backwards up 1/1 the other way. Now this will not be a solid line because it doesn't have a solid line underneath my inequality up here on this one. So I'm going to leave it dotted. I'm just going to put a couple more dots in between, dashed lines, whatever. And now I need to shade in. I'm going to test the point 0, 0. So if I test the point 0, 0, it could be on the original or it could be on your new modified one. If you go on the original, it's going to be 0 is greater than 0 minus 6. So if you go with the original, it's going to be 0 is greater than 0 minus 6 is -6. Is 0 greater than -6? Yes, it is. So this point does work, which means all points on this side work. So you would shade in this side. Got it? Let's do the blue one. The blue one crosses at 1 right here. And from that point, I go down 1 over 1. Down 1 over 1. I go down 1 over 1. Down 1 over 1. Down 1 over. And going backwards. And this is a solid line. And now I need to test the point 0, 0, which is clearly below the blue line. And let's test 0, 0 for the blue equation. So if I plug in 0 for y, 0 for x, it's going to say 0 is greater than 1, which is false. So the 0, 0 doesn't work. You'd have to shade in the top. Okay? So up here you would shade in this part. Which means that the overlap piece is specifically the middle value. There is a solution. There is an overlap piece. Where's the overlap piece? It's between those lines. Yeah. So just this right here.
What? I thought there was no solution. No, because it takes so.
They are overlapping. If they didn't overlap, then there would be no solution. If you tried the previous one to this one, number 11, those will not be overlapping. That would be no solution.